Honestly, this still feels like a dream. Matlab, what I was to what I'm now, all of this is kind of crazy. That photo is taken by me.
Hi, this is Arghya, and in this video I wanted to kind of lay out my entire journey of making it into one of the dream B schools of this country.
Lighting fires, she's lighting fires in my heart. Man, खोए हुए सपनों में फंसा from the start like a lighter. चिंगारी बनी आग वैसे हम दोनों के बीच हुई ऐसी शुरुआत. I'm a fighter.
To be very honest, I was initially kind of hesitant to make this video because, as you can understand, it's deeply personal. But at the same time, I kind of wanted to have a digital record of my journey documented somewhere, so that I can refer back to it or basically play it back somewhere in future. So that was basically the drive behind making this video. And most importantly, in all of my previous videos, I have received multiple comments asking me to talk about my journey into one of the top IIMs. The kind of profile that I have, the kind of things that I did to get there. So here goes. Now, let me lead with this. Contrary to popular beliefs, CAT is actually a pretty easy exam to crack. I won't say pretty easy, but not that difficult either. And I can understand a lot of you guys might not be believing me right now, but maybe towards the end of the video, you'd be able to make some sense of it. The story starts in my undergrad, college days. And up until now, I have had a pretty above average career so far. 95% in class 10th in ICSE back then. And then after that, I switched boards, and 12th, I think I got somewhere around 91% in PCM. That did place me in the top 1% of the candidates for the board because our state board used to be pretty stringent in terms of giving out grades. So yeah, but nothing extraordinary so far. No state topper or no district topper either. Just some Olympiad medals, 1 or 2 Olympiad medals here and there. I was heavily into sports as well. I was really a hardcore cricket fanatic. I have had idols all throughout my childhood. Virat Kohli, Rahul Dravid, Sachin Tendulkar, obviously. So yeah, I was heavily into sports. I have been part of the school team. I have been part of the college department team. After that, I have also played in leagues which are organized by colleges. So I was heavily into sports, and yeah, those days were fun. Anyway, after school, I did what every other science guy does in this country. Take up engineering. Please don't do it. Moving forward, final year of college, I was placed in TCS like literally everybody else. Now, this is where the story starts shifting a bit. You see, मुझे हमेशा पसंद था कि बाकी लोग जो कर रहे मैं भी वो करूँ. I love being part of the bandwagon. I love being part of the crowd actually. But at the same time, I have this strong urge in me. Wherever I go, whatever I do, I always have this urge to be standing out among others. I have to stand out. And I think that is one of the most crucial points that you need to remember in this story going forward. Now, I always knew कि मुझे IT में नहीं रहना है. I do not want to stay in IT forever. But I was placed in TCS. So, like every other confused college kid in 4th year, me and 3 of my friends actually started preparing for CAT. We got enrolled in Career Launcher, and I think a lot of you guys who are MBA aspirants or CAT aspirants might have heard about it. It's not a paid promotion, by the way. It was the usual stuff. Go to the coaching, take the mocks, attend the classes, go through the analysis. Pretty usual stuff. But at least for me, at that point of time, things weren't that serious. The coaching for all 3 of us actually, for the entire group, it felt like an extension of our college life. All 3 of us used to gather over there and used to have a lot of fun. But back then, it wasn't that serious. ऐसे ही चल रहा था. But then, this one day changed everything. It was a regular day at the coaching. The classes were over. हम लोग बाहर आ चुके थे. हम लोग चाय पी रहे थे तीनों मिलके actually, तीनों दोस्त लोग. And one of the friends said this, कि मुझे तो कोई भी IIM हो तो चलेगा. कोई भी IIM, कोई भी good MBA college that will do it for me. The top 5 or the top 6 IIMs, those are basically called BLACKIs. And वहाँ जाना तो बिल्कुल भी नामुमकिन है. That's completely impossible for GEM candidates like us. Because those are the top 6 IIMs and GEM candidates के लिए वो बिल्कुल भी crack नहीं होता. So मुझे कोई भी IIM चलेगा, कोई भी decent B schools, that would be enough for me. That's what I'm aiming for, that's what I'm prepping for. So this is sort of the kind of discussion that was happening. But those words, the fact that he said that okay, the top 6 IIMs are something else, those are something to look forward to, something to be dreamt of, that itself solidified this thing in my mind that okay, अगर जाना है तो BLACKI ही जाना है. किसी भी दिन अगर जाएंगे तो BLACKI ही जाएंगे, नहीं तो नहीं जाएंगे. That is how I really wanted to stand out. That is how the urge to stand out was always, all the time. Now, as you get closer to the actual CAT exam, with every other coaching institutes, the frequency of mocks increases. अब मुझे तो serious बनना था. Now I'm very dead serious about this whole thing. I have to stand out. I have to crack BLACKI. So I was kind of serious about the mocks now, and I was taking them quite seriously. I was investing myself. I was analyzing my results. I was pretty serious about the whole process now. Now, some of you guys might know about it. Career Launcher has this amazing program called the Super 30, where they basically shortlist the top 30 candidates from any particular metropolitan, top 30 candidates who have been performing really well in the mocks, and they basically shortlist these candidates. The idea is that they're basically grooming this bunch, this top 30 bunch, to be their next poster boys for the institute. So, what happens is that they pick up these candidates and they basically put them in a special mentorship program for a week, I think, before the exam starts. So you get to meet the top mentors of Career Launcher, you get to interact with them, you get to go to some of the parties as well, and yeah, the entire grooming continues to be the next poster boys of the institute. And thankfully, because of my newfound seriousness about CAT, I was actually shortlisted for this program from Kolkata. So I went through the entire training. I went through a week's training, one-to-one mentorship, one-to-one guidance with Career Launcher's top mentors as I mentioned. I had really fun sessions with them, and the feedback that I consistently got from all the top mentors and top teachers is that currently I'm in a really good position to crack this year's exam and eventually a top B school of the country. That is the feedback that I consistently got, by the way. But I proved everybody wrong. Kudos to me, I did not clear CAT this year. And I can bet that the reason is something that you would not have heard ever before. What happened is that while filling up the CAT registration form, the details that I put in initially were actually a bit incorrect. So I had to fill up the registration form once again. I had to redo the entire process. But ultimately, I basically got two registration cards. One registration card with the wrong details and one registration card with the rectified correct details. Now, on D-Day, on the day of the exam, I went inside the exam hall with the wrong registration card. It was completely my fault. I was allowed inside the exam hall because biometrics and everything, all of that were completely fine, completely matching, which is why they recognized that okay, this particular candidate is fine, and I was allowed in the exam hall. But while you have to sign over there, exam hall mein ghus ke you have to sign in a particular place, and sign karte waqt I realized that okay, I'm carrying the wrong registration card, and this will be an issue during the admission process even if I crack any of the colleges. So whatever exam that I'm taking right now, it does not really matter because the inconsistencies will get flagged during the admission process and admission nahi hoga eventually. That is the lightning shock that dawned on me after entering the exam hall. And it was a really difficult time, to be very honest. I was completely clueless. I did not know what to do. I was waiting for the exam to begin while knowing that this does not mean anything. My dad was outside waiting. He basically dropped me off and he was waiting outside. My mom was back home hoping and praying because they're all very full of expectations because mocks अच्छे गए, Super 30 में select हुआ है, and that actually felt like a personal win for a lot of them. And yeah, I think I managed somewhere around 90 percentile. Even that was a shocker for me because the mental state I was in, it was disastrous. What I did next was join the company I was placed in, TCS, and I really wanted to focus on work. I was really keeping myself away from taking the CAT exam for almost 2 years going forward because the trauma, the wound was still very fresh. It was like a proper trauma. It was like a bad breakup actually. And in a lot of ways, it was a very tactical decision on my part as well because I wasn't really sitting idle. I was actually gaining real-world corporate experience, which would be contributing to my resume going forward. But I knew that at some point or another, I would be going back to the CAT exam because I had unfinished business. I had a point to prove.
Master of Business Administration.
So, in 2022, I kind of made plans to take the exam again. But unfortunately, this time I could not really focus on the exam that much because unlike college, this time I had a full-time job to take care of. I had filled out the exam form, no mistakes this time, but I could not really get serious about it until October. I remember in October, on a random afternoon, we, a bunch of friends, were actually sitting after a session of cricket on the ground. And one of my friends said कि bro, मैं तो इस बार देख रहा हूँ कि सब लोग CAT दे रहे हैं. All the people are actually taking the exam this time. So I think that तुझे भी देना चाहिए because you have been serious about it before once. And that kind of changed something in me. I told him that okay, I have registered for the exam and yeah, I would be taking it seriously now. This time I bought the online career launcher mock series. I did not really go for the offline classes because I already knew what had to be known. So I bought the mock series and I started practicing sectionals, going through the analysis and everything. But things were a bit different this time. Even though I had started really late, just 1 month before the actual exam in October, things felt really easy. I already knew the tactics. I already knew the ins and outs from my preparation from, almost 2-3 years back. It felt like retaining the muscle memory as a veteran cricketer or a veteran batter. So yeah, I prepared decently. That's the topic for another video actually. And the D-Day was here. I was finally going to take CAT for the second time in my life. And guess what? This time as well, a surprise was waiting for me there in the exam. See, what happens in CAT preparation strategy is that you have one strong section to yourself, and from there you try to optimize or extract 50% of the marks. From the remaining 2 sections, you try to extract the remaining 50% of the marks. So it's very important that you have one strong section identified to yourself. Now, even though I was fairly decent in all the sections, especially LRDI, my stronger sections have always been verbal, right? Now, in 2022 slot 1 CAT paper, and you can actually verify this with anyone, the toughest section was the verbal one. And I just could not write the verbal section the way I would have wanted to. I won't lie, I was actually panicking through the verbal section because I could understand that okay, this is not really going the way I would have wanted it to go. But I genuinely think that's where experience and maturity comes in. So, the moment I finished the verbal section, I switched off a part of my brain. I told myself that the section that I finished just a while ago, it's completely in the past now. You cannot really do anything about it. You are pretty good at the next 2 sections as well, and that's all you need to focus on right now. I did that brain switching in split seconds, and I think that was one of the defining moments of this entire journey. It really gave me a lot of clarity and a lot of focus, and it basically enabled me to perform really better in the next 2 sections. I came out of the exam hall pretty satisfied with myself, even though I had almost a disaster in the verbal section, my strongest section. Eventually the results came out. I got a pretty decent percentile to fetch me all the new IIM calls, all the baby IIM calls from some of the other top B schools as well. MDI Gurgaon, SP Jain, IIT Delhi, IIT Bombay, and 2 calls from the coveted BLACKI IIMs. Now, I was always pretty good at interviews. I was never really afraid of them. So that entire 2 months that followed, I interviewed for the top IIMs, for the top B schools in the country, and I really had a lot of fun. Interacting with the profs, interacting with some of the people from the top institutes of this country. I had a lot of fun. Eventually, the results of the interviews also came out. I cleared all the new IIMs, all the baby IIMs. I cleared MDI Gurgaon as well. I think I cleared IIT Bombay as well. But at the same time, I cleared one of the BLACKI IIM calls. That is IIM Indore. And that basically gave me 2 of the most beautiful years of my life that I can cherish forever. So yeah, here I am, graduated from IIM Indore with a decent enough placement, really great friends and memories to cherish forever. This whole journey was almost a life transformation for me, and I'm really glad that I could share it with all of you. So, if you like my content, maybe consider subscribing,